Alright, so I'm going to be showing you guys my universal EV charger setup. Okay, so this can charge pretty much all EVs that use J1772 and Tesla charging, or the North America whatever standard that they changed it to. It's actually a combination of like multiple charger sets. The current charger in here is actually a 40 amp, which is probably the highest amperage portable charger you can get. Has two zippers. Let's open it up and show you what's inside. Okay, it's a little bit tough to fit it all in here because it fits so perfectly well. This cloth came with it, so I just threw that in there, but I don't really need that. So first we have obviously the Tesla adapter. This came with the car. You can see it got banged up a little bit. This accidentally left on the back of my car one time and drove off with it, and then it ended up way down the street. It stayed attached and then it fell off. And actually it still works completely fine. I have this little thing that I made which locks it to the adapter, so when it's plugged in the car, someone can't push the release latch to remove the J1772 charger from the adapter. They do sell these things online, but I figured, like, I have a 3D printer pen, I'm just gonna make a thing to wrap around. Okay, so we got that. Next we have thing to basically charge with every single way. So there's this 14, what is this, 515 adapter or something, whatever it's called. Basically I have all the most common NEMA connections. So this one converts the regular like 120 volt. You can actually plug it into the 240 volts. You can see it gives that option. Obviously it will come out as a 120 volt when you plug that in, but it allows you to plug to 120 volt, and then you can take advantage of the different plug styles. Okay, it also has an on-off switch, so I use that in combination with this, which allows me to combine two standard household outlets. They do have to be on separate phases so that they can combine with each other. And then you do want to make sure that if you're using this, that other stuff on the circuit aren't pulling too much amperage. Otherwise, you can end up tripping one of the breakers, and that can be a little dangerous because you don't want to trip one and have one still plugged in, and then you touch it and you can get electrocuted. So this, as long as you know what you're doing and you're careful, I have this as an emergency, and you can see it turns it to the standard 1450. All right. I have this. I'm not sure if I'm going to need it with this new charger, because this new charger has an option to turn on and off grounding. So we'll see. I'm going to test it with a generator that's not grounded, and then we'll find out. But this basically allows a generator to trick the charger to ground. If I remember correctly, it connects the neutral to the ground pin, so that way when it connects, it can see like the power going from the hot to the ground. All right. Then we got the I believe this is called the 650 NEMA 650 to 1450R. Okay, this is usually common with like welding circuits and stuff. I forget the name of each plug, but you'll probably have to look it up. Okay, anyways, then we got this one, and this allows you to plug in the, what do you call, the 240 volt. That's more similar to the standard house sockets, but it has the sideways pins, as you can see on this adapter I showed earlier. So that can actually plug into here. And then I can basically convert this plug to use the 1450R, and I actually don't even need a standard plug adapter onto the charger. But this one normally supports 15 amps, which when you charge, you want to make sure that the max amperage does not exceed 80% of the max rated capacity. So this is a 15 amp, but you'd actually charge at 12. This cable, the wiring in here is actually thick enough, the gauge is low enough and thick enough to handle the 20 amp circuits. So actually this can handle charging even on the 15 amp circuits. So for the 15 amp ones, they'll have like one blade is sideways and then one blade vertical. And I forgot which is which, but with the 240 volt circuit, they'll have like one side like this. And then with the 120 volt, they'll have like one side like this. I forget which one's which. It might be flipped the other way. But yeah, this will handle both the 20 amp for 20 amp for both. like this, as you can see, can also handle 23 amps 125 volt. This can handle 16 amps 250 volt. So it'll handle both. All right, and if I am using the 250 or 240 volt circuit, I wouldn't use this. I would just go straight with this cable, because this would support both the 15 and 20 amps. All right. Okay, so next we have the more common, I believe this is like a 10, no, this isn't, I forgot which one this is. I think this is a 30 or 40 amp circuit. I think there's a 40 amp one. Oh, here, 1030p. Okay, so actually this is a 30 amp. So this will charge up to 24 amps continuous. All right, and this is somewhat used on some dryers. Okay, this is what my current house dryer socket uses, the 1030, and then it converts it to 1450R. So all of these are actually using 1450. Let me see if it has the label on all of these so I can give you guys the right thing. Okay, so this is, yeah, NEMA 650. Okay, so NEMA 650. This one is a 615p. Okay, so this is the plug. That's what the P stands for. So again, this is the 615. The 620, the one that supports 20 amps, would have one vertical blade, but this is a 250 volt plug. All right, and then the standard, what was the standard one? I think the standard one is 515, but it doesn't say on here. Does it say on here? Nope, it doesn't say it on there either. All the, yeah, and there's the 1450. Okay, and also the 1450 is nice because it supports 120 or 125 volt and 250. So the voltage ranges usually from 110 to 120, but this says up to 125, and then usually this is like a 240. Okay, or 220 to 240. So the nice thing with this is it combines two hots to allow it to do the 250 or 240 volts, which is basically what that combiner cable I was showing you guys earlier, what did I do? Oh, which is basically what this does. So this takes two hots and it brings it out to these two hots. So normally, again, you would do that at the breaker panel, not in here, because it's safer and it makes sure that it's a dedicated circuit, that nothing else is plugged in there. Because if you're charging near the max and you plug in other stuff, you can actually overheat the wires and cause a fire. So you want to be very careful if you're using something like this. Make sure you know what you're doing. Okay, then we have this cable here, and this is NEMA 1430p. Okay, so this is what some other dryers use as well. So this is also 30 amp. Okay, the only difference is they added a ground plug here. The old style, the 1030p, or I don't know if that's older, I think it's older, doesn't have the ground. So this is the 1430, and then the 3-pin one was that the 1030. Yeah, 1030. Okay, so I came across this plug when I was traveling. I was in Canada and their dryer used this plug, so I bought this adapter for that use in the future. So they have that. Okay, then we have this one. This is an RV plug. This is actually only 120 volts, and RVs use this is 120 volt 30 amp. So this one doesn't charge that fast, but here you can see it's a TT30p, so it's TT30. All right, and they all convert to the 1450R, so I did that so that way we only need one charger. Okay, then we have this adapter which converts the standard the TT30 RV adapter to one of these twist lock receptacles. This actually came with my generator, and I'm going to be using this with that. Okay. Then we have this short extension that I made. This cable actually is only goes up to 40 amps, I believe, so it's not a standard 50 amp cable, but this is only what was it, like 4 feet, I think. Yeah, so this cable is about 4 feet, and I basically just made this little short extension. I probably don't need this but I made this little cable because before I was using it at my parents' house and my charger was just a little too short, so I ended up making this little cable, and it fits in the pack, so why not? All right, then obviously we have the charger, and this charger is pretty cool because it allows you to switch between different amperages. You can set a delay. The problem is the only thing it doesn't let you do is you can't do fine like tuning of when you want it to start charging. I think it goes like in hour increments. So if you're trying to start it at exactly midnight and it's like 11:50, you're gonna have to wait 10 minutes to start the charging. Otherwise, you're gonna tell it to start charging at 12:50. So that's one downside to the little setting. It doesn't have that quite exact setting. All right, and yeah, let's actually go ahead and show this. I guess I can show it on a regular outlet first. So let's actually plug this in. Okay, so we have the 1450 here. And again, I don't have a regular outlet to 1450. So what I use is I have that. Okay, so I have the regular 515, I believe this was called, the 515 adapter. And then I have this, what is that called? 615 adapter, and that allows me to plug this to here, and I convert this 1450 to a regular 120 volt house socket. So I'm going to plug this in the wall, we're going to plug in the charger, and then I'll show you how this works. All right, so let me plug that in and I'll be back. All right, so here you can see we have it plugged into just a regular outlet, 515 adapter if I remember correctly, and this is nice. I can power it on whenever I want. Here you can see this thing is starting up. The screen doesn't actually flicker like that. It's just the refresh rate of the camera. So here you can see it's set at 40 amps. We don't want that, so we're gonna press set. Oh, I have to hold the button, sorry. So, and then you can see we can change the current, the time, and the grounding. So right now, I'm gonna go to grounding, hold the button, and yes, grounding. Okay, we'll press and hold to say yes. Then we'll hold the set button again. We'll hold the set to change the current. And because this is a standard outlet, we can actually set the current. So 16 amps is the lowest, 24 amps, 32 amps, 40 amps. So the only problem with this charger, it's nice that you have the amperage changing, but it's assuming that you have a 1450 plug that supports 50 amps. Because since the wiring on most of these home things are only to support 15 amps, you actually only want to charge at 12 amps. So luckily for my Tesla, I can manually set that. For other EVs, you'd have to, hopefully you can set that. If you can't set that, then this adapter is not going to work well for you. You have to find a charger that can actually support lower amperages. Okay, so as you can see, I can set 16, so at least it's somewhat of a fail-safe, and then I will tell my car to charge at a different speed. So I'm going to set it at 16 amps, and let me go and plug this in my car. Okay, so give me a second. Let me unravel this and I'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, I was too lazy to move my car. It's all the way over there. So this 4-foot extension actually is useful. Have it plugged in there. This is off right now. We'll turn it on. Then we have the adapter to convert it. We got the cable for. Then we got this powering on, set to 120 volt, 16 amps. And it's going all the way to the car here. I am going to have to start the charging. So let me do that and I'll be back. All right, so I told my car to start charging and set it to 12 amps. You can see the green lights flashing. And we're gonna go back and look at the screen, see what it's actually showing here. Okay, 16 amps. You can see it's actually pulling 11.8 amps, 1.4 kilowatts, and how long it's been going. So you can see it's pulling it at 115 volts, 11.8 amps. So I actually told my car to pull 12 amps, and that's what it's doing. So doing well, and yeah, that's how we have it set up. Okay, so now we're gonna test it with the no grounding setting and using the generator. Okay, so let me set that up and I'll be back. Okay, so here we have the generator, and first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna plug in this twist lock adapter because it doesn't have the other types. This thing supports 1600 running watts. So depending on the voltage we get out, that's going to be about 6 to 7 amps. So I'm going to twist this into place. So you can see this actually has a twist lock. Now you can't unplug it. We're going to start up the generator. We can plug this in. It's going to be noisy, so keep that in mind. Okay, but we're going to plug this guy in. Give me a second here. Okay. I might have a customer here. But yeah. All right, let's start up the generator. So first thing we got to do, it actually shows here. Oops, and why am I going to the back? So we got this. We already did all of that. So we're going to turn this into the on position. All right, basically opening the vent. We're going to turn the gas one to the on position. Then we're going to pull the choke out. Then we're going to turn on the thing here. Okay, this one's eco mode. Last time I accidentally turned that on and I was like, why isn't my generator working? That's why. Oh, this is in the way of the pull handle, so I might have to take this out, but let's see. All right, now let's go ahead and pull this and see if we can start it. I don't know if I can do it with one hand, but let's try. I'm gonna have to stand on it. There we go. We'll push in the choke and we'll set it to eco mode. So we'll let that run. Let's go ahead now. We'll let it run for a bit and then we'll plug in the cable. All right, so I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, so for noise purposes, I'm not sure if you can hear me right now, but I actually unplugged the thing from my car. Again, I do have to set the amperage on my car because the lowest can go is 16 amps. So we're gonna set it to 6 or 7 amps at the 110 or 120 volts, okay? So here's the charger. We're gonna plug it in here. Okay. Plug that guy in there. Oops, sorry. You can see the screen came on and it's powering it. Again, I am going to have to tell my car to start charging because it's set to start at midnight, so it's not going to go. Here you can see poor grounding protection. So we're going to do, hold the set button, go to grounding, and we're going to say no grounding. And if this works, then I don't need to even worry or bother about this little cable or this little adapter. But it takes like no space, so might as well leave it in there. Anyways, let's go ahead and plug this in the car. Okay. And I could technically just start the thing from my car, so let's see in here. So that way I don't have to stop the recording. Oops, turn that off. Sorry. Okay. And let's go to, oops, charging. They changed some of the stuff, so I gotta find it here. Okay, so here we have max 12 amps. Again, I'm gonna set it, wait, was it? It can handle up to 17? Let me double check here real quick, because I think it's gonna only do 120 volts. Let me see if it shows on the charger, the voltage. So, 125 volts. So, let me do some quick math here and I'll be back. All right, so according to that, we should be able to do 12.8 amps. So let's actually try and do 12. All right, and let's start charging. You should hear the generator get louder. Is it starting? Okay, it's trying to start. Okay, it's pulling 3, 4. There you go. There's the generator. Oh, and it couldn't handle it. So I think we're gonna have to start low and then we're gonna have to start it up. So we'll start lower. We're gonna have to stop it. Let's pull the charger out real quick. Oh, it probably went to overload on the generator. So we gotta pull this out. Oops, sorry. Plug that back in. Let's see if it's in overloaded mode or if it's, oh no, it's not. Let's turn off eco mode. Maybe with eco mode off it will work fine. Let's try. Let's start it. Okay, you can see. And it's gonna slowly go. You can see it's pulling load. Okay, it's going. Let's slowly up it. You can see it's doing 7 amps now, 8 amps, 9 amps, 10 amps, 11 amps. You can hear the generator working harder, 12 amps. If I do 13, it might kill it. Let's see. 13 amps. Oh, it's working hard. It's working at 13 amps, surprisingly. It says my car will take 10 hours to charge 19%. Okay, let's try 14. Is it gonna die? It's running 14 amps. It might be very stressful on the generator, so I don't know. I don't know if I push it more, it might die, but it's only running at 119 volts right now. Let's try 15. It's going. The limit is 16 because that's what I set on the charger. So the charger actually sends to the car the max. So if I want to do more amps, I have to change that on the charger. Let's try 16. It's actually running at 16 amps, but the voltage dropped. So we'll see. I can try letting it run and see. You can see the voltage is staying. I'm kind of curious what will happen, but it's running. Let's look at what it shows on the charger. And actually overload. So you can see we overloaded it. All right, let's unplug this. And we're gonna have to reset the overload thing. Oh, I guess you just turn it off and turn it back on. It's gonna probably make a pop sound. Oh, it actually, oh, there you go. Okay, so we turned that off, and yeah, it does work, but again, you do have to change the overload, make sure you get the right amperage. But that's pretty much it. It works. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. That grounding thing works. I don't even need this plug. So this charger's pretty cool. The only thing I wish it had was a lower setting to 12 amps. But because my car lets me manually set it, it works really well. Other cars let you set it as well, but I don't know what their setting will be. A lot of cars, when it uses this 1450R, will just take the max current that's allowed. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.